Okay. Audacious started as a conference in 2004. But the journey of Audacious started a long time before then, really. It was probably in around 1997. My wife and I were youth pastors in Sheffield, and we'd started the youth ministry with 11 teenagers, and it had begun to grow. And believe it or not, I used to be the guitar player, and my wife was the worship leader. And I'll never forget one night, I just said to Sophie, this is crazy, we're going to have to raise up some more musos. And she said, but none of them play music. I think there was one person who played another instrument. So basically, one night after youth, I went to about 6 to 8 different young people. I said, okay, you're going to learn guitar, you're going to learn drums, you're going to learn bass, you're going to be vocals, you're going to lead worship.
Lynn asked me once to kind of head up the Sunday night worship, and like I hadn't really thought about leading worship or anything.
I was in youth when Glyn was a youth pastor in Sheffield, and he started a band, like telling children, youth, that you're going to play the bass, you're going to play the drums, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I kind of just watched on, because I was actually too young to be in youth at the time.
But we just started to do that, and led the Sunday night meetings for a while for worship.
So I kind of started singing at youth, and then I sang at church, just leading worship at church when I was like 14.
And gave them 6 weeks to learn instruments and to learn vocals. And then 6 weeks later, a band started, and yeah, it was awful. Basically, the worship was terrible.
I was minding my own business in little old Scunthorpe, and I got a phone call from one of my friends called Simon Bolton, who was the drummer at the time in the band. Rachel Taylor, who's the previous bass player, she moved to Hillsong to do their music academy there. And so, which left a gap. So Si phoned me and asked me if I'd like to join the band, to which I had a quick think about and was like, yeah, you're all right, I'll join. And came over, and no one else knew about it, I found out after that. And then,
So I first got involved with the Yeah album. I don't know what it was called when I got involved, but basically got invited to come and visit some practices that the band were having, writing songs and just helping them out with that. So I just turned up, didn't really know what to expect. I didn't actually know anybody. I'd only met Glyn a couple of times before he invited me. So I just was helping basically with songwriting, just you know, trying to give an outside opinion.
Nod your head is nod your head. I walked into the studio one day when the band were writing a song. I said, guys, I've got a brilliant lyric for a song. And they're like, what is it? And I said, what about nod your head? Because we've had, you know, jump, we've had put your hands up, we've had, you know, do all these sorts of things. What about, you know, nod your head? And so the guys absolutely ribbed me. They said, nod your head. What an absolutely rubbish, you know, lyric that would be. I'm like, no, that'd be fantastic. And I say, no, come on, imagine this. Imagine thousands of delegates all nodding their head in unison. Wouldn't that be an unbelievable thing? And they're like, no, Glyn, you're old school. You know, leave the songwriting to us. And, you know, I even, you know, came up with a lyric.
Nod your head, because God is winning. Nod your head, because God is winning.
And I came up with a tune for it. Thought of,
nod your head, because God is winning. Nod your head like this.
We did slip a little bit of the song into Audacious Conference without anyone noticing, which was, for me and Joel, was a highlight. So we go, okay, come on, Audacious, God doesn't just want you to nod your head. And we literally had 2,000 people nodding their head. And we just looked at Glyn and winked, and it was a priceless moment.
And then, but the funniest thing of the whole story for me is a year later, we're in South Africa, and we're driving to Andre Krief's house. And there's me, Andre, and Glyn in the car, and Foz, and we're just driving along.
And it sort of came out there somehow over a meal that the lyric Nod Your Head and the tune I had completely plagiarised from a youth pastor in Cape Town. Sorry, Andre, for stealing it. Yeah, but I did confess. I wasn't sprung. I did confess.
Yeah, he goes, I've got to be honest, I actually stole it off these guys here. So we're like, I can't believe it. One, I couldn't believe it because it was actually a song and someone had made a song called Nod Your Head that was good. And, but I couldn't believe he claimed it as one of his own ideas and then trying to palm it off on us, of which we could have potentially written a song and put it on an album that we'd have then probably got busted for in court later on as someone else's song.
So 2004 was our first Audacious conference. We did it in Kiel University. Superb conference. We had Delirious play one night. We had a huge marquee that we had all the delegates in. On one particular night we got thrown out of the marquee due to environmental health.
Yeah, we got kicked out of the tent. So the first year of Audacious, we got kicked out of the tent for being too noisy, which has got to be a winner.
Apparently the noise went up behind the clouds, travelled for 11 miles behind the clouds, and then where the clouds opened up, the noise dropped out of the heavens into somebody's back garden, but amplified, and because of that, they shut us down.
That's what we were there for, but we got kicked out of the tent, and we had to pull off, like with an hour's notice or something, we had to pull off back-to-back meetings in the student union bar.
So Delirious were brilliant because they did 2 back-to-back gigs for us that night in a smaller indoor setting.
And that was amazing. And then, but the next day we were back in the tent and everyone was going mental.
We are in the tent. We said, we are in the tent. And it just went on for ages, and it was just kind of a real anthemic kind of feel.
Portsmouth, Chris Hill was preaching, and he was preaching on Kill, Steal, Destroy. And it was my favourite moment for a lot of different reasons. One is that you stood in a conference and you're listening to Chris Hill wielding a sword, shouting, kill, steal, destroy! And just looking around and seeing all the stewards that actually worked at the venue, sort of thinking, what is this guy on about?
We thought it would be a brilliant idea to finish the conference with a fireworks display. So I'd always wanted to have a pig on a spit, and so we got a pig on a spit, roasting a pig on an open spit. We had 1,500 delegates at the end of the last session come down to this big open field, pig roasting, carving off, people having pork sandwiches. Just what a great idea. We brought in a professional fireworks company, which was, you know, going to be a superb night. They were going to write Audacious in the sky, and we had all this fantastic stuff happen. When literally 3 or 4 minutes into the fireworks display, one of the fireworks exploded in the canister in the moist ground and shot across, literally just across our heads into the crowd, and it was just pandemonium, people running everywhere. And we ended up with CSI in and all these sorts of things, and apparently there was a malfunction in the manufacturing process in China and all these sorts of things. That was a scary moment.
Oh yeah, there was this one year when like we did this whole boys versus girls thing, and the guys decided to actually just walk off stage and leave me. I'm not going to go that way. The guys just decided to walk off stage and leave me. Literally, so they all walked off stage and there was just me with the microphone trying to get the girls going. That was pretty scary, but quite fun at the same time because I was just like, I'm going to carry on whether you're with me or not.
That's probably the second memory, and it's a reoccurring memory from every year of Audacious Conference, is literally seeing the altar call packed most days with young people, number one, giving their lives to Christ for the first time. Secondly, people rededicating their lives to Christ. And thirdly, young people, young adults, university students, just saying, God, I surrender my life to you, whatever it is.
I think just seeing like the kind of people journey is massive. Like over the years, people that have been coming to Audacious over the years, just seeing them now, like from the start of the conference, people aren't warming up. So by the end, you know, it's passionate. It's on the first night, people are coming now with expectancy. And I think just seeing the atmosphere that's created every year, like people just coming hungry.
I remember Wigan, one of the events on that tour, and there was 700 kids, and it was a big kind of warehouse, and they'd had all these curtains across so that you could section off different parts of the building, and they basically had to keep ripping the curtains back to allow more people in. There's 700 kids here. Like something is happening, like God is literally moving, God is doing something powerful, and that started to change my heart to think, what is really important at the end of the day? It's people getting saved and people connecting with God, and there's no point doing events if no one comes.
I remember for me, the first time I kind of came into the idea of Audacious City Church is me and Glyn and Jen were driving back up from London after mastering what must have been the Forget Not album. And we're just driving up and Glyn starts just talking to me about he's got a passion in his heart for Manchester.
Audacious City Church, which has seen incredible growth in just the last 2.25 years, from 90 people to in excess of 1,200 people over the course of a month. We've seen in excess of 1,000 people get saved. We're running 4 services on a Sunday, which is fantastic. And also in May, so 8 months ago, we launched a church campus in Krakow in Poland, which is again such a great opportunity.
The exciting thing about being part of Audacious is I think people probably get the wrong idea and they think, it's a youth thing, it's a youth church, and all the rest of it. But I don't consider myself youth anymore. I've started to realise that, I just think church is about everybody. So although we have a sound that we've created for specific purposes over the past few years, and we've been really trying to develop songs which will speak to the church, and church is everybody. Church is just family, and so in terms of sound and the future, the exciting thing about God is he's so creative that nothing holds him back in that. Do you know what I mean? And I think that he doesn't want us to be held back by certain styles or certain ways of doing things. We just want to write songs which people can connect with and people can worship to.
Still filming. He's filming. We've got it all on tape. I feel awkward.